Good afternoon to one and all present here. Presenting a short story by Satyajit Ray named Mr. Brown's Cottage. I had been looking for an opportunity to go to Bangalore ever since I found Mr. Brown's diary. It all happened rather unexpectedly. In the annual reunion of the Calcutta Boys' School, I met my old friend, Anikendra. Anik told me that he had been working for the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. Why don't you come and have a holiday in this place where I'm staying? He said. I agreed due to my great interest in going to Bangalore. And so I went. Oh, but first, let me tell you about the diary. My passion for old books made me a chance upon the diary of Mr. Brown. The first page had his signature and his address. Evergreen Lodge, Fraser Town, Bangalore. This was followed by a date, January 1858. This meant that the diary was 165 years old. I personally expected nothing other than a description of a life led by an English gentleman in those days. Mr. Brown was a school teacher in Bangalore. The interesting part about his diary was the frequent mention of someone named Simon. Whether this Simon was his friend, brother, or son, it was impossible to tell. But it was clear. Whoever Simon was, he was very close to Mr. Brown. The diary was filled with instances of Simon's intelligence, courage, anger, and naughtiness. Many entries read things like, Simon loves to sit in a particular high-backed chair. Or, today, Simon was not feeling very well. Or, I'm feeling very sad. I've not seen Simon all day long. Towards the end came the heartbreaking news of Simon's death. Around 7:30 p.m., Simon was struck by lightning. His body was found the next day in Mr. Brown's garden under a charred eucalyptus tree. For around a month after Simon's death, Mr. Brown wrote virtually nothing in his diary. Then suddenly, one day, the diary mentioned a strange incident. Today, as I was returning around 7:30 p.m., I saw Simon sitting by the fireside on his favorite high-backed chair. Son, was it really Simon? Please, Simon, do come and see me sometimes. I can live the rest of my life happily if I can see you just once again. The last entry read, the knowledge that he who loved me hasn't forgotten me, even after his death, has given me profound peace. Here, the diary ended, but my curiosity did not. Once I reached Bangalore, I raised this topic of Mr. Brown's cottage in front of Anik and one of his friends, Mr. Banerjee, who was a retired officer in the aircraft industry in Bangalore. Ghosts, he said. You mean you really believe in them, Mr. Sengupta, in these times? All right. Ghosts or no ghosts, we shall see. All I really want to know, Mr. Banerjee, is whether you know anything about Fraser Town or Mr. Brown's cottage. He said, lighting his pipe. Fraser Town does have a lot of old British cottages. Anyways, if we have to go, why not do so this evening itself? We all agreed. So we took a powerful torch, a first aid kit, a few candles, a packet of sandwiches, a large flask of coffee, and a deck of cards, and set off to Fraser Town in Mr. Banerjee's newly bought Morris Minor. On the way, I noticed that the old man had carried a revolver in his coat pocket. Driving through the clean, broad roads of Bangalore, we finally reached Evergreen Lodge in Fraser Town. Standing in front of Evergreen Lodge, it felt like I was staring at an old, abandoned house in the English suburbs around the 19th century. We all proceeded towards the house, entered its living room. Wooden boards under our feet creaked. The western side of the house had a window from which I could see the garden and the eucalyptus trees. Was it one of those that was struck by lightning? Maybe Simon was standing under it. I was very curious. First, we lit the candles. Then Anik sat down and said, "You make me nervous with your flights of fantasy. Sit down. Let's play cards." So we both sat down and went on playing cards. Daylight had almost faded away. It was now around 7:30 p.m. Anik had just reached out for the packet of ham sandwiches when suddenly the expression of his face completely changed. His body became rigid. Banerjee and I automatically followed his gaze. Then, what we saw there made me hold my breath. A brilliant pair of eyes was staring at us from across the room. It had that pale grin, that yellow glow. There was no need to take out the revolver, Mr. Banerjee. It's just a black cat. The phosphorescent eyes now came closer and closer. Black as the moonless night. It entered the room, jumped and curled up on a high-backed chair covered in red velvet, which we had not noticed before. At that precise moment, we heard something that froze our blood. An invisible old man was laughing merrily in the room, punctuating his laughter with, "Simon, oh Simon, Simon, Simon." A scream told me that Anik had fainted. Mr. Banerjee gathered Anik in his arms and sprinted towards the gate of Evergreen Lodge. The food, the candles, the cards, everything was left behind. We ran like mad men until we reached the Park Morris mine outside the gate. Anik regained his consciousness in the car, but didn't utter a single word. Mr. Banerjee, as soon as we reached home, poured himself a glass of brandy and downed half of it in one go. Then he said hoarsely, So, Simon was a cat? How ridiculous. I was in no situation to converse, but in my heart, I knew he was right. It had to be true. Mr. Brown's Simon was that black cat we had seen today. Tired and frightened, I left the two behind and proceeded towards my room. When suddenly, the lights went out. I heard a loud shattering noise from my room. I rushed towards my room to see what had happened. Then, I saw something that completely traumatized me. Under the impression of a candle lit in the room, I could see an image of an old man sitting on a high-backed chair. He started laughing, saying, "Simon, oh Simon, Simon, Simon."